Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and the acknowledgement of the arrival of the post-Kate Welch era of Dungeons & Dragons. So I'm calling it J. Scott Garibay right now in 2020, November. We are now in the post-Kate Welch era of Dungeons & Dragons. So why should we acknowledge this moment? Well, one, it's because Dungeons & Dragons is such a special product. It really is. It's really like nothing in American history, okay? It's an element of Americana, like jazz or baseball or comic books. It's completely American made. It's a part of America's past. It's a part of America's current moment. It's part of America's future, right? It's an important industry, a critically important industry. And when Kate Welch left Dungeons & Dragons, that was a moment of American history. It wasn't important from the product perspective. Here's a good example. Rime of the Frost Maiden, okay? It releases. That is product important, okay? It's an important product for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It was edition important, right? I'm not sure Rime of the Frost Maiden will be remembered in the history of Dungeons & Dragons, right? It'll be remembered within 5th edition moment, right? But it's not a big event. Kate Welch leaving Dungeons & Dragons in 2020 is a very, very big event, okay? All right, here's why, okay? Kate Welch came in the beginning of 2018. She was, she came in from video games, right? She was brought directly onto the Dungeons & Dragons design team, and immediately, as soon as she came in, she began working with Mike Mearls, Chris Perkins, Todd Kendrick, and had her name on books, right? I even think she led development, I think, on Ghost of Saltmarsh and maybe one other book, right? Now, what's unusual about that? It's a big deal, right? First of all, when Kate Welch was okay, if you want to be on the Dungeons & Dragons design team, get in line, baby. There's only about 10,000 industry people in front of you, right, that want this job, right? And when they come, right, what's the standard today? I'll tell you what the standard is. The creator of Zweihander is the standard. Okay, that dude created Zweihander. It's the strongest independent game available today. It's he created it and wrote it, and then he published it, right? And he didn't just publish it, right? He published it to the point where you can walk into virtually any Barnes and Nobles and buy it on the shelf. That's real publishing. That's a real book. That is preserving American print industry, right? Which is important. Dungeons & Dragons is one of the last products that'll be in print. Guarantee it, right? That and comic books and sacred texts. It's all it's going to be in print, right? Nobody cares about black and white novels, right? Like, we're talking, and Dungeons & Dragons is worthy of being in print because it's full color on every page. It uses layout, it uses art, it has juxtaposition of layout, art, and text. It deserves to be in print, right? Like, it's important, right? So you have all this going on, right? And when she came in, so what were Kate Welch's, what got her the job, right? Well, she'd been in the video game industry. Never published an RPG of her own. Never even written an adventure. Never even published an adventure, right? Like, so why did she get pulled in? Well, she was very bright. She was brilliant with the social media. She had the charisma and the intelligence to be the design lead for 6th edition, right? Now, why wouldn't you just get one like the creator of Zweihander RPG, bring that guy in, like, who's got this solid resume of actual accomplishment, right? Well, the reason why is Dungeons & Dragons had a major problem, right? And I fully acknowledge this is a huge problem. This should never have happened, right? All right, so here's in my opinion, this is one of the reasons for why Kate Welch came in, right? There has never, ever, in the history of the 46 years of the game, been a design lead on Dungeons & Dragons that wasn't a white male. Middle-aged white male, frankly. So that's horrendous, right? That's exactly the same history as the U.S. presidency before the year 2008. Horrible, right? Like, just, it's terrible. It's an embarrassment to the hobby. It's an embarrassment to the industry. It's an embarrassment to Dungeons & Dragons. It's an embarrassment to WotC. It's an embarrassment to everybody connected to Dungeons & Dragons. It has to get fixed, right? Well, Kate Welch was going to be the answer to that. Brilliant, charismatic, perfect candidate for a modern design game. She didn't have any real experience though, right? Totally okay. We're in 5th edition. She, for the last 2 years, she's been being spun up, in my opinion, as the design to be the candidate, a real candidate for design lead for Dungeons and Dragons. She could say, "Hey, I've written, I was the design lead on Ghost of Saltmarsh. No female in the history of ever has been the design lead on a D&D book." I think that's correct, right? Before that. And, I got the chop. Not only do I have the charisma and the intelligence to do this, I got the chop and the social media knowledge to do this. I got the chops to do this modern job, right? Well, now Kate Welch is out, right? We don't know why. It happened about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. She left Dungeons and Dragons. She came in from video games. She was in Dungeons and Dragons a little less than 2 years. She was with Wizards of the Coast for a little less than 2 years. I mean, moved there the whole nine. I think she bought a house, right? Like I remember reading about her buying a house, right? Like, in the area. And all that's done now, right? She's right back to video games and gone. And we're in the post-Kate Welch era. Why is it important that we acknowledge this? It's a big freaking deal. It is a big freaking deal. And the reason why is, one, we're looking at the possibility of a future for Dungeons and Dragons that didn't exist before Kate left, okay? Before Kate Welch left, anybody could actually, before Kate Welch left, we knew who the design lead for 6E was going to be. It would have been outrageous for the team to bring in a female, mentor her to be the design lead for. Now, again, this is me. I'm saying this was being done, right? Now, I don't think Wizards of the Coast ever acknowledged this, right? So, bring her in, mentor her to be the design lead, and then be like, this was a joke. We were never going to make you design lead. Here's another white guy. What the heck, right? Like, there's no way, like, they're in Seattle. Come on, like, they're wearing Birkenstocks and eating hummus. Like, they knew what the score was and what had to happen next. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't an accident that Kate Welch was there, right? Now, first of all, I want to make it super clear. I do think Kate Welch should have been the design lead for 6th edition. I am all for that, okay? I was for that. That possibility is gone now. She's, like, literally out of, she's left the building. Like, Elvis has left the building. And that future no longer exists, which means that now there is all possibilities for the future of Dungeons and Dragons. Under Kate Welch, we would have got woke Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons has been made by a bunch of crusty old white dudes who are like, let's see what we're going to do with THACO this time. How many D20s are we going to roll? Kate Welch should be like, we're going to put in inclusiveness and diversity here. We're going to fix, the race issue. We're going to fix all the social aspects of this game that have been not even touched for 46 years, right? And, now there's been some progression, but it's been white man's progression. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a lot of progression, right? Like, so here we are, right? And now there's a distinct possibility that we're going to get a Dungeons and Dragons edition. We're not going to get a woke Dungeons and Dragons. That is absolutely what Kate Welch would have delivered, right? She was super woke, super modern, and we would have had a really fully refined edition of Dungeons and Dragons that addressed its social awkwardness and its social ineptness, right? That is, we don't know if we're going to get that now, right? I think what we're going to get is we're going to get a Dungeons and Dragons edition, right? We're not going to get a woke Dungeons and Dragons edition. And that is a huge acknowledgement to just understand that the possibilities for the direction that the game is going to go in are now wide open. Before it was locked in, we knew what came next, right? There was no way Kate Welch was going to walk in the door, after she had spent 2 years saying, hey, I want to make sure that, when we're putting art in the book, that everybody's fully represented. She was making sure everybody understood that the game's social ineptness was going to be addressed under her watch, right? That's gone, right? And here's the issue, right? So you're like, well, they'll just hire somebody else. That's going to be hard to do, right? I really would like to be corrected here. I follow role-playing games very, very carefully. Right now, there's no female designer who has matched what the creator of Zweihander has done. And there's like 20 dudes like that, right? Who have created their entire role-playing game, created dozens of adventures from the ground up, and gotten them not published, not like PDF jank Kickstarter junk, right? Real books on real shelves in real retailers at scale, tens of thousands sold, right? That has never been done in the history of the game by a female author. If I am wrong, please correct me. I'm ready, right? Like, cause I'm looking for it. I got 200 games on my shelf, right? And you could bet if that game exists, I will buy it cash now, right? Like, cause you know, I got games that on my shelf that were bought for their historical importance. That would be historically important. I've never seen it, right? So it's gonna be a really tough transition now that Kate Welch is gone. Kate Welch had the charisma. Kate Welch had the intelligence. Kate Welch was perfectly positioned, right? And then Kate Welch got the mentoring. She got the experience she needed. She was teed up like a softball on a tee to get knocked into the future of Dungeons & Dragons at the 6th edition design lead. It's gone. It is like, and this means it's all like the future is wide open. We really don't have any idea of what's going to happen with the next edition. If Kate Welch got in, you know what was happening next, right? It was like it was on rails, right? It was the social ineptness of the game was what was going to get fixed next, right? And nothing was going to take precedence to that, in my opinion. I think that would have been a better future. I am very sad that Kate Welch has left, right? But I also think we've got to now realize this is a historically important moment in the history of Dungeons & Dragons design, right? I think Mike Mearls and the WotC team realized this gaping hole in Dungeons & Dragons history, went to fix it, and now it's, now the fix that was in place, the pieces are on the floor, and we don't know where we're going next. What am I missing, right? Like, I've been tracking this really closely for a long time. I really want to know what's going on next. I know what's not going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen next. What do you think? Who do you think will be the design lead for Dungeons & Dragons next? What do you think is the ramifications of being in the post-Kate Welch era of Dungeons & Dragons? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennia.